Triggers Adeline, Krenko, Aurelia, and Aurelia. 3 more Warleaders Calls off the Krenko. Adeline trigger. 3 more triggers off of that. Warleaders Call has done so much damage this game. Today on Commander Replay, we check out Aurelia the Law Above and find out how much damage we can do with Warleaders Call. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, there's 2 great ways to support the channel. All links are in the description below. Oh, welcome back everyone to playing some Aurelia the Law Above today.
I never broke the law. I am the law.
Oh, let's take a look at this opener. Cool cards, but 1 land. Oh man, I did want to try that one out too. That one looks cool, but we're gonna have to mulligan that into 3 lands. Ramp Warleaders Call. It's okay. We're gonna need to draw things after that matter, but the deck has a lot of gas in it, so. Oh, and there's a Selvala at the table, so that should get us a few extra cards, so we shouldn't just get immediately stuck. We'll go ahead and keep this. So I do have a handful of new cards in this deck, Warleaders Call being one of them, one that I'm particularly excited to see, and KO was nice enough to gift me the fancy art on this one. I did pay him back for it, but he opened it in a draft or something like that. So yeah. Going second in the turn order, that is a vast improvement. I feel like I've gone last in probably the last 6 or 7 games I've tried to film, so I will happily go second. There's a Prava of the Steel Legion, one that I've always wanted to try. It's been out a few years. I just don't play tons and tons of token decks, so I'm hoping he can do some cool stuff for us this game. Let's start with the Alpine Meadow, since it does come in tapped, and we'll pass like that. Let's take a read of our commander, Aurelia, the Law Above. Aurelia number 3 for those keeping score at home. That is a 5-mana 4/4 with Flying Vigilance Haste. Love it. Whenever a player, that's any player, attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, Aurelia the Law Above does 3 damage to each of your opponents and you gain 3 life. Lots of cool text on this card. So I put out some prior videos and had to do some builds with Aurelia, and so I've been thinking about it since it's been spoiled, probably a couple months at this point. And I think what we're going to see with this Aurelia is going to be similar to the other 2 Aurelias, in which they are very, very flexible. It doesn't pigeonhole you into doing specifically one thing, which I think is really cool, and I really enjoy that about it. Takasha's Welcome is card draw. I am definitely going to like that. Play this mountain, play the Arcane Signet, and we'll tap out and pass. What is interesting about this deck, as I'm thinking about it right now, is that like just ramping and casting Aurelia as fast as possible is not necessarily always going to be the right call with this deck, because you do need some setup unless your opponents have a bunch of creatures they plan to attack with. But anyway, as I was saying, the abilities on this Aurelia are pretty flexible. Yeah, you're going to want some amount of token makers, and, basically you're going to want to make sure you have at least 3 creatures on board. 5 creatures on board can sort of naturally happen if you just run a lot of protection. It's not completely necessary that you overload on token production to do that. If you just run like Selfless Spirit and Guardian of Faith and Teferi's Protection and all that stuff and keep your stuff alive through the board wipes, then you'll get the 5 creatures pretty easily. Or the green deck at the table is probably also going to have 5 or more creatures and attack with them at some point. So you can get those triggers off that way. And so what I do like is that, Magus of the Wheel is not the card I want to see right now. So now it's Operation try to get as many things out of our hand as humanly possible. The question, I don't know how long he's going to wait before cracking it. He's on 4 cards, unless he's out of lands. I don't think he does it next turn. Let's play the Plains. Let's get Oketra's Monument. And we are awkwardly left with our mana right here. Assuming we don't get wheeled right now. Next turn, I'm thinking Pravo with Warleaders Call. I do want to get the Warleaders Call out of our hand, just because I want to get to use it. Be very sad if we don't get to see it. There's a Selvala. But anyway, yeah. I like that this Aurelia does not specifically push you into one direction. You could do a keywords deck with this if you wanted to. Any sort of go wide is going to be at home. You can mess around with that life gain ability a little bit too. It's not like, we'll call it an off-label use for the commander, but it is something you can do. Like, I figured out that if you put lifelink on this Aurelia and you get that 5 creature trigger, you gain 12 life. That's a ton of life gain. And sure, it does take a little bit of setup for that to happen, but I was thinking about like a Soul Sisters build with this. Could be really, really cool, and it probably sort of overlaps with the token builds just a bit. So it is a thing that you can do. And I'm not saying it would be the best for this, but you could just make it a Voltron commander. Like, there's definitely better suited Voltron commanders out there, but having Flying Vigilance Haste being cheaper than the other Aurelia to get into play, you could still play this as a Voltron commander and have a lot of success, because in all likelihood there will be other decks at the table that will attack and you will get those triggers. So even if you just kind of give up on it, still going to be reasonable. Like I said, it's not going to be the best use case for it, but it's a thing you could do. So anyway, and the thing that I see everyone talking about is kind of doing the mass goad with Aurelia, which I'm sure will be very, very strong. I just don't particularly care for goad as a mechanic. I think it's too strong. Like, there's something about losing agency of your stuff that just feels terrible. It's basically like part of a mind slaver. It's not the whole mind slaver, but it's definitely at least part of one, so doesn't feel good. There's another land. So let's get this mountain. Let's get Warleaders Call. Then let's get Prava. And this will be cool because we're going to get a token off the Aketros Monument. The token's going to trigger the Warleaders Call, and then Prava's also going to trigger the Warleaders Call. So a nice little bits of value right there, getting some direct damage on our opponents already. This might be my vote for most underrated card of the set. I mean, I haven't looked at them. All right, let's be fair. We'll call it most underrated Boros card of the set, right? I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, but God, that's really good. Damage to each opponent is like really, really strong in Commander. Just most of the instances of it that have ever existed are usually like very OP. And this also being an Anthem, it's literally 2 cards jammed into one. I'm actually really, really happy with the design of this card. I think in the past they've missed a lot. Like with Boros, what was it? I think the Mythic was, what's the X spell at a Gate Crash? Aurelia's Fury, right? Like, Aurelia's Fury really does not synergize with most of the things you want to do in Boros. Like, of all the Boros decks I've played, this, I think the only one I've really ever put this into is like Feather and maybe Fire Song and Sunspeaker. And it's an okay card. Like it's fine. But I don't know. Maybe I'm undervaluing this a little bit, but I really like that this cares about creatures. Aurelia inherently is a commander and a card that cares about creatures. Warleaders Call cares about creatures. What's the other mode of Warleader? They can't cast non-creature spells? Yeah, maybe I should use this thing a little more than I do. It's a cool timing play. You do need to have mana for it. Now that mana's better, now that there's, a lot of mana redundancy, I am tempted to just shove this into a random deck now and see what kind of use you can get out of it. But yeah, anyway, very happy with the design of this card. And look at this art. This art looks fantastic. Love it. We do need to make it through one more turn of not having the wheel go off here, because we've got a Skull Clamp in our hand, and Skull Clamp is insane. So I'd like to get that into play. I'd like to get the Takasha's Welcome into play. That's a cool one I haven't really seen a lot of yet. I've seen it like every here and there. But, ew, that's a Cathar Commando. Warleaders Call may not be long for this world. Though, opponents also got a Crucible of Worlds, and that's a scary card too. If we run Skull Clamp down there, they probably shoot one of them. Sword of the Animist might just be on the, overwhelm them with targets kind of thing, although there is recursion in the deck, so this Cathar Commando could get nasty. Gonna swing over to Xenosai, yep. Sword of the Animist, trigger, yep. Anyway, very excited about the new Aurelia, very excited about Warleaders Call, hope it doesn't immediately get shot. If we play the Skull Clamp might be able to eat the Cathar's Commando for us. We'll see. Though with the Oketra's Monument, that's a thing too. These are really good together. Brings it back to our turn. There's a Manas Tirith, newer-ish one from the last year or so. Haven't played it a ton. Enters the battlefield unless you control a legendary creature. We do. So it'll come in untapped, and we can draw a card. Activate only if you've attacked with 2 or more creatures this turn. Let's get it into play for sure. Comes in untapped. Love that. Yeah, I mean, I do think I want to get the hand empty just because we are still staring at this Magus of the Wheel. And, that's just the smart thing to do. So let's get the Takasha's Welcome. Get the Skull Clamp. I guess we can leave up Sajiri's Shelter should, a Blasphemous Act or something show up. Actually, we can... I'll give that up, and I'll equip the Skull Clamp. We'll put it... Ooh, that's a 3/6. Man, that's disgusting. We'll put it on Prava, since, Prava might be sort of a high priority target at some point. We'll poke D-Manny. 3/6 Vigilance, yeah. Toughness is a weird thing in this game. Like, more often than not, power tends to be better, especially when you're talking about, like, trying to do damage. But there is something about, like, you know, even as a 3/6, at this stage of the game, it basically takes away multi-blocks because, I mean, on its own, yeah, this is a 2/2 with our Anthem. So, like, this just gets eaten by the Magus of the Wheel. But having that much toughness, like, it's tough to have profitable blocks like that when there's a lot of toughness. So it just makes it really hard to, like, kill the creature in combat or with, like, damage-based effects. So, yeah, probably a cool little thing. We draw a Flowering of the White Tree, another newer-ish one. That I've been putting this in decks. I just haven't been playing that much of late. But, you know, if you want an Anthem in your deck, I think this is probably the one you start with now. And if you're playing Boros, I think you also start with this one. So, like, these are probably going to be your first two. We also have a Paladin class in this deck, and I do think Paladin class is actually going to be really good. Yeah, let's go take a look at the deck. While opponent coughs down all of the green staples, there's an Oracle of Moldiah and a Tireless Tracker. Yep. Ooh, and a Mazavith. Gross. Plays a Mazavith. Ugh. Yep, does the thing on the Tireless Tracker. I think there's a new threat at the table. Okay, now we'll go take a look at the deck. So here's the deck list. I'll say this is one of the most aggressive mana curve decks I think I've ever built, in that it's mostly 2 and 3 drops. A little bit of 4, a little bit of 5, and I cut Elesh Norn at the end just because, like, I know what Elesh Norn does, and I know we'll win the game if Elesh Norn shows up. Don't need to know what Elesh Norn does. Wanted to, like, I have a bunch of test cards in here. We got Taunt from the Ramparts. Looks really strong. There's that other one that goes too. This is the older one. I think there's a newer one too that I don't even have in the deck. So anyway, we were talking about it. Paladin class. Spells your opponent's cast cost 1 during your turn. You'd be surprised how often that gets someone. Because, like, it's just easy to forget about, and you never know how that's going to play out late in the game. Obviously, creatures you control get +1/+1 is, you know, kind of the main use, but the last mode on this is good too. Whenever you attack until end of turn, target attacking creature gets +1/+1 for each other attacking creature and gains double strike. So, because we're a token deck, there's theoretically going to be a lot of creatures in play, which means you're really making one of your creatures huge. If our commander's in, probably going to be our commander. And you're talking about a situation where, like, Aurelia could potentially kill someone with just commander damage, and then you can send your tokens and everything else to another player or two. So yeah, Paladin class looks really, really good in this deck. And, you know, I think it's interesting because my general take on the class cards is that they're rarely best in slot, but they're usually decent. And for this deck, it almost feels best in slot. So I do kind of like that vibe that's going on there. D-Manny going to go after the Blackblade Reforge. I didn't even see that one come in. All right, well, you know, Xeno doing scarier stuff than us, so they get to eat the Cathar's Commando. Love that. We get to keep all of our stuff. And then he's going to crack the wheel, so I'm going to be sad about Flowering of the White Tree. I was excited about that one, but I am glad that we got Warleaders and Takasha out of our hand. And Prava, all cards that I wanted to get a look at. So, ooh, Nykthos is a land. It's our only land, and it was the Paladin class. Oh, yeah, we did get the Token Makers now, though. Field of the Dead for D-Manning. Gross. This is going to be a game. There's some strong decks at this table. Should probably take a look at what everyone's doing. So as we mentioned, Xenocide piloting Selvala Explorer returned. Tap it, parlay. Each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land reveal this way, add a green mana, and you gain a life. Then each player draws a card. So usually it's some sort of, like, Elfie combo, tap it a million times kind of deck, and you want to be real careful with that. There's an Iroas. Yeah, Iroas is pretty good. Still not my favorite in the command zone, but D-Manny has built a really cool deck with it. I like Iroas in the 99 of decks. I don't care for what he gives me out of the command zone. Ooh, Aurelia Exemplar of Justice. Do love me some Exemplar of Justice. Literally posted the most recent Boros +1/+1 counters video today. And yeah, she doesn't blow you away. She's not like a value commander, but she gives you a lot of really cool abilities in combat. Menace and Trample together, that's pretty nasty. It's pretty nasty. Our Devotion to White is 2, but if we get Adeline, it'll be 4. It's not awful. The Paladin class, ooh, our own Iroas. Well, we now have a lot of things that I want to get out of our hand, so we need to try to do that. Get the Nykthos. Ooh, we have Cost Reduction. Cost Reduction is going to be our friend, I think. We probably need, like, Adeline and Iroas. I don't know that we can get... yeah, maybe we can. Maybe we go Krenko, just because Krenko's a little bit slower than Adeline. Adeline we can kind of drop down and then just go straight to combat and get that trigger. So maybe we go, like, on the slightly more setup. Let me read this again. Whenever one or more creatures enters the met with mana value 3 or less, cool. So we'll get to draw a card too. Okay, let's get the Talisman into play. Let's get Adeline into play. No, we said we're going to go Krenko. Krenko doesn't have cost reduction, though. That might change my mind here. Also doesn't help with our white devotion. That's interesting. Paladin class is mana neutral with the Nykthos, so we should probably get that one. Yeah, maybe we're back. Yeah, I think we're back to Adeline. Well, if we go Adeline, what do we do after Adeline? Oh, no, we do have 4 devotion now. Okay, so maybe we just do... I didn't see the Warleaders Call because of the fancy border. So we get 4 white mana out of that, which is +1 mana, which seems like a place that we want to be. 4 white mana. Yeah, I say we get Iroas of our own. Gonna need a red. That'll trigger Oketra's Monument. Triggers a Warleaders Call, the Takasha's Welcome. Yep, love it. Love it. Man, maybe you just do like Perforos. I don't even have Perforos in the deck. Maybe you just do like Perforos and what's the other one? The 2 mana one. We draw a Kellen. Ooh. Warleaders Call again. Let's get the... Yeah, now we can get the Krenko. Okay, this works out. I like this. And if the board wipe doesn't go off, so 2 things need to happen. 1, Xeno needs to not just directly win the game, which they might have infinites with what's going on over there. But if that doesn't happen and the board wipe doesn't happen, we're going to have a crazy turn next turn. How big is this thing? That's a 3/4? Gross. This has Menace. Oh, we have Iroas. We can just do whatever we want. Cool. Send our 2 attackers into Xeno. They scare me the most right now. T-Manny says, PJ is cheating. He's playing my commander. Good card is good. They're going to maze the token. Yep. Yeah, God, if this board holds up, our next turn is going to be wild. What equipment did I... Oh, I put a Feast and Famine in this deck, didn't I? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Nykthos plus Feast and Famine seems really good. Well, there's a Swords on top of their deck, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, that probably hits an Iroas. Rumor Gatherer, more card draw. Yeah, the card draw has come a long way for Boros tokens. There's a lot of really good options now, Rumor Gatherer being one of them. Natural Balance. Each player who controls 6 or more lands... Oh, God. Yeah, that's not what we want to see. Burgeoning. Investigates. Knight of the Reliquary. Cool card. Natural Balance is a card that I really don't want to have to look at. Signet. Solitary Confinement. Ugh. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. You have Shroud. So that's going to force a Dismantling Wave out of us, I think. Definitely don't want any solitary confinement shenanigans going on. D-Manny's also... D-Manny usually runs removal, so he might have something for that too. Which would be nice for us just because we wouldn't have to devote the tempo to it, but... Devote the mana. But, again, as long as our board state holds up and we have the Nykthos, Nykthos can make a lot of extra mana for us, which I like. Still do have a Maze of Ith to contend with. Like, I was starting to do the math in my head. I'm like, could we kill Xeno on our next turn? Maze of Ith makes it unlikely. The normal Ozolith coming in. What does this one do? If one or more counters will be put on an artifact or a creature you control, that many +1. Put a +1 because... Okay. So the original Ozolith is much better. Locket of Yesterdays. What? Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card with the same name in your graveyard. That seems real strange. Ambitions cost. Sure. Down to 31, and you gotta be careful with us in this Warleaders Call and what our deck is doing. That is a lot of direct damage that we can pile on. Slime Against Humanity. Oh, God. This is a slime deck in the middle. This is Asgard Iron piloting Umori the Collector. The chosen card is Sorcery. Spells you cast with the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. Okay. Not taking advantage of the companion mechanic. They've got some slimes. 9/9 trample, 8/8 trample. Yeah, they got a whole lot of slime happening over there. Seems good to me. We have a lot of nice stuff in our hand, but I would like to get like a Teferi's Protection or maybe a Settle the Wreckage. Did I put Settle in the deck? I hope I did. Nope, not in here. I should definitely put a Settle because it's a token deck, and periodically, I mean, obviously protecting yourself is key, but like every once in a while, you could use the tokens to ramp yourself, and that is not an awful use of a bunch of tokens, especially if like something weird's about to happen and they're all going to die or whatever the case is. Doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a while. Makes sense to do that. Stoneforge Mystic is a magic card. We've also got the... Well, Skyclave Apparition is cheaper than the Dismantling Wave. But if he's getting like a Feast and Famine or something, then, you know, we're probably just on Dismantling Wave. It's a Mask of Memory. Would I shoot a Mask? He's on 7 cards, but he must feel like he doesn't have what he needs. That'd be my guess. As far as the Dismantling Wave, I would say Shadow Spear is probably the target. That one can get you killed in a lot of different ways. I'm going to swing Aurelia over to Asgard. Mask of Memory trigger. Ooh, Invasion of Gobakon. Look at target opponent's hand. You may exile target non-land card for as long as they do. It costs 2 more to cast. Who are they going to target? Goes for Asgard. Solid choice. Also, they chose sorcery, so, you know, that seems like it makes sense. I'm sure D-Manny's thinking like, oh, we probably just have a bunch of creatures, if they're trying to figure out what we're doing. I don't think our plan is all that well hidden. Oh man, if we cast Aurelia, attack with everything. Oh my god. Oh my god, we can do so much damage this turn. So Aurelia by itself with the Oketra's and the Warleaders is already 2 damage. If we attack with 5, then we get another 3 damage of like just direct damage. If we have Krenko and Adeline in, that's a lot more damage. What I am worried about, though, these slimes are really big. Got an 8/8, a 9/9, and they're basically a 5/5, 4/4, 3/3. That is a lot of slime. D-Manny's got a Field of the Dead and triggers the Burgeoning. Yep. Take a quick look at other equipment in the deck. I think it's mostly like mana stuff. Hearth and Home, Feast and Famine, Bitter Thorn, Sword of the Animist. I would go for the Feast and Famine, but the Feast and Famine... Oh, that's a Bond of Discipline. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is another one that I've been super excited about. Can we do enough damage to kill someone? Maybe even 2 someones. We need to start with the Dismantling Wave. Get the Solitary... What is this? Prevent all damage... Yeah, just get rid of Solitary Confinement. The Ozolith is usually the correct target, and Shadow Spear seems like something that could get us killed. Only 1 red card in our hand. Cast the Dismantling Wave. Maybe I should have waited on that. Yeah, and then I think... Okay, and then I think we go white, white, into the Nykthos. Well, yeah, we have to do it this way. Into the Nykthos. Yeah, I probably should have waited on the Dismantling. Crap. Not playing my Nykthos properly. Turn that into 5 mana. This will be 4. That'll be... Yeah, and then we should be able to get Adeline and Aurelia. Cast Aurelia. Oketra's Monument. Takasha's Welcome. Warleaders Call. Another Warleaders Call. Steel Shaper's Gift. Cast Adeline. Oketra's Monument again. Another Warleaders Call. Yeah, the Selvala deck just makes me nervous. So send everything we got. Triggers Adeline, Krenko, Aurelia, and Aurelia. There's 3 damage. We gain 3 life. Opponent's gonna... Ooh, swords on the Iroas. Ouch. I forgot that they had that. Does put us to 48 life, which I am thinking about the life total against the ooze. So if Xeno dies right here, then the ooze probably all come at us, and I would like to survive that. We're up to 51 now off the Aurelia trigger. Ooh, there's Mondrak. Man, if all this stuff survives another turn. Oh my god. 3 more Warleaders Calls off the Krenko. Adeline trigger. 3 more triggers off of that. Warleaders Call has done so much damage this game. Oh, there's the Maze. Maze on Aurelia. Okay. Yeah, we have burned opponents' life totals out. This would have been a really good turn for Battle Hymn at the start of the turn, because then we could have just emptied... Like, if we got the Bond of Discipline also and no blocks... Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't think... This attack is no longer lethal, so there is that. Does look like they're going to try to kill the Prava. Yeah, that will probably save them some headaches down the line. Opponent's going to block our token. Also, opponent did have to pay 2 for that swords with the Paladin class, so you have to wonder. I mean, they're down to 1 card, but you have to wonder how that affected them. D-Manny's also going to block. Lands you control are all land types. Oh, weird. Well, let's kill the Tireless Tracker. Oh, that wasn't as ideal as it could have been, but... Oh, there we go. Didn't kill the zombie token, hopefully. Hopefully the zombie token doesn't kill us. We do draw with the Skull Clamp. Would love a Swords. Swords would be super helpful to just make sure we don't die to stuff. There's a land. Aggravated Assault. Oh my. Burgeoning trigger. Okay, what am I next worried about being the most likely thing to kill us? Maybe an ooze. What's this? Rising of the Day is also pretty scary. Oh, slime against... A deck can have any number of slime against humanities. Okay, I see what's going on with that deck now. What to do with this 2 mana? Throw Rumor Gatherer out there as a blocker, I guess. Because that'll also make another 1/1 and trigger the Warleaders Call more. Warleaders Call been MVP so far. So much damage. Like, we haven't even attacked... We attacked D-Manny once for like a small thing. And we attacked... I don't think we've attacked Asgard at all. And they're down to 12 and 15. Solemnity. Uh-oh. There's the Battle Hymn. Opponents just can't let us untap with this board. Something has to happen. I mean... With this board, we literally just cast Mondrak and Warleaders Call would finish the game. Solemnity. In hindsight, I should have shot the Locket of Yesterdays, but The Ozolith's usually a safe bet. There's the natural balance. This is going to be gross. If we can keep the Nykthos, we might be okay. This is going to eat a lot of our... pull the basics out of our deck. Salinity, I think, shuts down the Ooze plan. So we choose 5 lands and sacrifice the rest, so... Definitely Nykthos. This card draw one is nice. The dual land. I guess 1 mountain, 1 plains. Oh no, there's a Tragic Arrogance on top of his deck. Oh, hope he doesn't have a way to get to it. That would be a problem. We do have a full hand, so there is that. But, yeah, Tragic Arrogance is so nasty. Oh, he cracks the clue. Does he have the mana? Does he have the mana? What's this one do? Makes a green. Doesn't look like it. No, cracks another clue. Thank God. Woo! Got one more turn on that Tragic Arrogance. Better finish it up by then. Boots. Did we not get our basics? Are we supposed to get basics back or something? Or is it only if you go below 5? There's too much text on that card. Yeah, okay, so the lands got chopped down a little bit. Still, we've got the Nykthos, and we've got to battle him, so again, if we don't die and if our board stays intact, feeling really good that we can wrap this game up. Gotta see if someone's got something to prevent that from happening. That's where we're at. Ancient Craving, more card draw? Yep. Down to 9. Better be careful. Us and the tokens. Oh no! No, it's finally dying. Assassin's Trophy on the Warleaders Call. Oh, it did so much. That's an overwhelming stampede. We're probably all gonna die now. Probably all gonna die. We're at 51. That's still a ton of trample. And it probably all comes our way. Yeah, we really could have used that swords. But they're at 9, so they do need to make sure that they, like, kill everyone else. So, let's see. If they just send it all our... Yeah, if they just send it all our way, they just die to everyone else on the board, so... They're going to have to, like, think about what they're doing here. And it'll take 2 to kill Zeno because of the maze. There's hope. There's hope. 18 at us. 17 at us. 14 at us. 13 at us. 12 at us. Okay, 1 over to Zeno. I wonder if that's enough to allow us to survive. They're still thinking about it. Oh, they leave 1 back. Ooh, we're going to gain 3 life and draw a card. Come on, swords. Swords are path. Keep that life total coming. Gonna need all the life we can get. Command Tower is not one of those things. Burn opponents for 3 more. God, they're so low. Okay. Well, let's get the calculator out and see how much is coming at us. Got an 18, a 14, a 13. So that's 70. We're at 54. I mean, D-Manny can still kill us. But I mean, yeah, I guess we just have to block with everything, right? I mean, honestly, we may not even... Yeah, we might not be the threat. Although... So we need to stop at least 16. I don't even know if we have that much toughness, honestly. 17, 18? Ugh. Should have played the Bond of Discipline. I had thought about this. I had thought about this exact scenario happening. I didn't think about the overwhelming stampede, but I thought about just like, if we don't have a ton of life, the slimes could theoretically just come in and kill us. And that's more... Like, even if we don't just die, D-Manny can kill us. Not thrilled about that. Why does that one have to have trample? Ugh. Yeah, I mean, I guess we start blocking. Yeah, we have to throw Aurelia in front. Don't love that. Yep, gotta block with everything. Oh, opponent's gonna maze 1? Oh my god, that's incredible. We're gonna lose all of our stuff, but, we might survive with enough life to, Ooh, he's going to save the one that is going after our commander. We have a chance to survive. We survive at 10, and we still have our commander, so if D-Manny goes sideways, we at least gain a little bit more life back. Told opponent, if we ever meet in person, I will buy you the sandwich of your choosing. I think I owe about 5 different sandwiches for things like this that have happened over the years. We get to go on a little bit longer. It actually does make the game really interesting, because what happens? If we die... Or if we go to like 2 with nothing in play, D-Manny kills us. He probably kills Asgard. Xeno's a little tougher to get through just because they had the maze up and they have a couple blockers, but even still, this actually does make things really interesting. We do have an aggravated assault also. Mangara the Diplomat. Oh yeah, that's one that probably needs to go in this deck, huh? Seems real good for what our deck is trying to do. God, it was really difficult. Like, the cards in this deck are all very good, and it is legitimately hard to pare this thing down to 100 cards. Like, the cards you're cutting are still insanely good. Like, the cards that didn't make... Like, True Conviction isn't even in this list right now, and True Conviction is nuts, right? Opponent's got an Adeline of their own. Oh, yeah, that's going to be some damage. And they've got haste. Oh, my. Yep. Okay. Okay. See what D-Manny's thinking. We still have this Krenko, and Krenko... with a Mondrak. Well, we don't have the Warleaders Call anymore. which makes it all very less exciting. Aurelia over to Asgard. Iroas over to us. That's going to be... Oh, we can't block that one. Oh, we can't really block anything because we only have one blocker. Yep. Sending another one our way. We do need that 5th creature to go, like, hopefully not at us. There's the 5th creature. There's the 6th creature. So we need 3 life and hopefully like a swords off the top. Mentor trigger. We've done so much direct damage this game. Forget attacking. Throw a damage doubler in there, get 6 off of those every time. You gotta be careful with those though, because yeah, I mean, I guess if you're doing like the life gain thing and you're kind of like, yeah, maybe in the goad. All right, so if you're doing like group slug, you throw all the damage doublers, you try to protect yourself as much as possible. You try to get lifelink on Aurelia so that you gain a lot of life back. And there's Dolmen Gate. That's not the thing we were looking for. We go back to 13. I wonder if that's enough to keep us alive. And a few more 1/1s coming in. Yep, that might be enough. We can't block any of it, so it's all getting through. Spray and pray. I do think about, too, we never got this pumped up. If we were able to get that pumped at some point, that's a big deal, too. But we kept drawing so many cards that, like, we just don't have the mana, right? Really could have used this Battle Hymn last turn. If we had it last turn, at the start of the turn, oh my god, we would have just been able to, like, cast everything. Do we survive? Opponent's going to go search for a thing with Knight of the Reliquary. Was it any land? Search the library for a land, put it onto the battlefield. We get maze number 2. Glacial Chasm? Glacial Chasm, yep. This is all damage? Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Yep. They are at 5, though. The cumulative upkeep on that will, that'll come in real quick. Do we survive? No, -1. Needed a blocker or a swords. Swords not even in here. Yeah, that might be the issue, hoping on cards that aren't in the deck. So the other thing, too, is, like, I could have played it differently. If I'd gone for the Bond of Discipline, that counteracts the oozes trying to just, like, kill us all in one shot, because we gain probably roughly as much damage as they did, give or take. I mean, I guess they could attack, but the incentive isn't really there. I don't know. And maybe just attacking the oozes made more sense. Maybe trying to take them down was a better play, because they had the damage, but, this thing just makes me nervous, right? Ooh, you know what, though? Well, there's only one player left in the game, so the life gain probably... Okay, yeah, they let the Glacial Chasm go because they're at 5. But they have a Crucible of Worlds, yeah. Now, this is where that comes to bite you. And they've got multiple land plays, so they can just do that every turn. D-Man is going to have a rough go with that. Tragic Arrogance, real magic card. Don't even know that it's completely necessary with the Glacial Chasm. Because they could, as long as D-Man doesn't find a Ghost Quarter or something, he could just hide behind that Glacial Chasm for a very long time. It is risky. If they find, a generous gift or something, then you just die. But, yeah, I guess that... Well, I guess the thing... Okay. No, maybe that does work, because now they've got a 7/7, and there's only a 1/1 over there, and they can just... This is half D-Manny's life, so... Oh, there's the swords. They go back to 13. Now it's kind of anyone's game. Who can make big plays first? D-Manny's got haste, and in this situation, haste is usually pretty good. Haste is really good right here. Except for the Glacial Chasm. Glacial Chasm's back. Ooh, so you have to sacrifice a land every time it comes in. Yeah, I don't know about that Oracle. Because with the Oracle in, you could just replay the lands you're sacrificing. Questionable. Questionable on that Tragic Arrogance. We'll see how it plays out, though. Oh, opponent has a Solemnity in play. How does that work with cumulative upkeep? I can't remember. They're going to shoot D-Manny's Field of the Dead. Yeah, that card is horrendously annoying. Sword on the token. Oh. So, even though Xeno's got the maze, getting a land back every turn with that sword is going to be a big deal. That's the type of thing that could put him over the top. Because ideally, first thing is just try to get your commander back in. Any creatures that matter, really. Lands will be really helpful for that. Glacial Chasm. Opponent's up to 13 life after that swords also, which... I mean, I guess they can't have counters put on it. So I don't think you want to pay the life, but recasting it every turn is also a pain. Although, maybe you hold off on that because D-Manny doesn't have... Okay, so they don't pay the life and it stays in play with the Solemnity, I think is what just happened. Yeah, that'll be a nightmare to get through. Lauren of the Third Path. That can shoot some important stuff. I personally am thinking Sword of the Animist right here, but Rising of the Day can also beat you, so either is... They're going Sword, yeah. Try to shut down the rebuild. I gotta replay that Lauren deck. Thing was so annoying. The other thing, too, in this game, if I didn't start with the Dismantling Wave and did some... Oh, that's the Angel of Glory's Rise. That's a big play. If I didn't start with that Dismantling Wave on that turn, I think we get a few extra mana worth of plays, and... It's difficult to say exactly what that does, but we probably get at least like 1 or 2 more things in play. Cathar's Commando going to shoot that Solemnity, so Solemnity down, which means they'll at least have to pay the life on Glacial Chasm. D-Manny going to send everything. He's not really going to do anything with the Glacial Chasm. Well, I guess it makes a bunch of bodies. Yeah, that seems fine. Yeah, it'll make a bunch of bodies. Turns out Angel of Glory's Rise is really good in a humans deck, which this happens to be. I'd have to count the humans in our deck. I have to wonder if this is good for our deck. I know there's got to be at least a decent number of them. See what Xeno's got. They pay the 2 life. Yep. Thaumatic Compass. Still need another land or 2. What do they have? Nope. Just hit their 7th land drop. Okay, so that'll flip over. Even more protection. Yep, goes the end step, flips that over. My guess is that D-Manny has to use this Magus to just basically dig to a Ghost Quarter or something like it. Showdown of the Scalds? Yeah, get that one going first. Nykthos Ghost Quarter. There it is. Found it. Although, maybe you should have waited on that, because with double maze, it's still not lethal damage, right? Because they can still maze the 2 biggest creatures. So it's either that or he needs to like definitely shoot the Crucible of Worlds. Professional Facebreaker. That'll be with haste. Sarah Ascendant. Gonna go, each player draws a card. Yeah, I mean, Xeno can still wall up here pretty good. Sends them all. Adeline. So you're gonna maze the Adeline. Adeline still makes a token, though. Then you maze the Angel. Yep. Probably about half their life in damage. That was lethal? How was that lethal? Did I miscount? Down he goes. Yeah, D-Manny takes it. Looks like opponent just had lands and a Savines. Anyway, yeah, we didn't win, but I can't be upset about that performance. We did so much damage with Warleaders Call. Better decision making. Like, again, if we use the Bond of Discipline, if we kill the slime player and then take our chances with Selvala, we're probably in a better spot. I was expecting Selvala to just like go wild, and that's kind of what I was trying to play against, because that deck, it's more of a combo deck, so once the combo happens, it is just kind of tough to stop. Where, usually I feel better about taking my chances with the creature decks. We really need like a Settle the Wreckage or a Comeuppance in this deck, and I don't know where to find the deck slot for it. I'll have to play with that. So yeah, things I want in the deck. I'd definitely want like a Swords and a Path, and I would love to get like a Settle the Wreckage in the deck somewhere. I haven't looked. There's got to be more things similar to Kabira Takedown that care about having a large number of creatures in play. I don't know how many there are, but there's got to be, like, I would like to see more of these type of effects where, if we have a lot of creatures, we can get a payoff out of it. So, but yeah, we did what we set out to try and do, which is we flooded the board with tokens. We had Warleaders Call in for them, which was ridiculous, which means this deck probably also needs a Purphoros, honestly. One of the things I started thinking about halfway through the game is, like, with the Warleaders Call, it's like, do you even need to attack if you had, like, Warleaders Call and Purphoros? The answer's probably not. I mean, it's, you can get a little bit of damage, but, like, if you don't even have to think about attacking and just go, like, well, you could go, like, Throne of the God Pharaoh and stuff like that. You need to keep them alive, but I don't know. It was something I was thinking about. Obviously need to keep those in play. But, yeah, the question is, what do you take? Because, like, this Odric, good because if opponents can't block, you just blast through all the damage. This one, the other Odric's good. Where is he? Flying Vigilance Haste also means that most of it's probably not getting blocked. It's just tough to justify the deck slots. I suppose Skyclave Apparition and Durgar Hedgemage. I was thinking that, like, yeah, get your removal on creature bodies because of Aurelia. And that seems like a good thing. But, maybe you're better off going with just more traditional removal and things that you can play at instant speed, for example, to keep you alive. But I am happy with the cards we got to see. We got to see Warleaders Call. It was filthy. What else did we see? Prava was very good. It was one that I had been interested in seeing. It does lose some steam in opposing turns. I will say that, right? The question I have on this is, like, am I better served with just having an all-the-time anthem for that slot? Or potentially even anything else, because we do have other anthems in the deck. And, like, I think we're around 4 anthems, which is, like, usually more than I run. I'm not huge on straight anthems, though they've printed some really good ones recently. Flowering of the White Tree, talked about a little bit, and obviously we've talked about Warleaders Call, talked about Paladin Class during the game, which I think is really good for this deck. But usually I'm more of like a Cathar's Crusade. This is how you do an anthem. And Gold Knight Commander also really, really good for the same thing. Basically, yeah, made a few decisions that I think I could have did better and came up short, didn't really have the interaction that we needed when we needed it. We took an attack for 70, right, from the green player, and they basically, like, threw themselves on the cross and just said, I'm not going to win, but I'm going to try to kill you, right? So that's not the easiest thing to play against. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have 2 new Patreon supporters in Greg Bolton and Technicolored Mime. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below.